Shalom, peace. It's your brother Gabar. This is Intelligent Hebrew. One of my last lessons was Exodus 20, verses 1 through 6. I dealt with, or I should say, I touched on. You can never really go too deep in these things, but I touched on the first two commandments: no other gods and no graven images or no idols, right? So, of course, we're going to do the third commandment. I'm not going to do all 10 because I think that by and large we all understand what honor our parents, don't kill, don't murder, don't steal, bearing false witness, and coveting. I might do something on those, but for the most part, I know that we understand that. But these, I know that these can kind of throw us off at times. We don't necessarily know what an idol is, or how when we look up to people, we kind of idolize them, or when we put things in front of the Most High God, money, job, social life, spouses, children, we can put these things before the Most High God and commit sins trying to please them instead of trying to please the Father, right? And I know that in this situation, taking the name of the Most High in vain is something that usually we think when we say, damn, or when somebody be like, Jesus Christ. Well, that's called profanity, and there is a scripture that says that we're not supposed to use his name in profanity or with profane words. We're not supposed to profane his name, yes. But taking his name in vain is a little bit different. Profaning his name does go under taking his name in vain to some extent, but we're going to really get right to it, right? So let's open up Exodus 20 and verse 7. Exodus 20 and verse 7, and it reads as thus: Thou shalt not take the name of Yahweh, the Lord, thy God, in vain. For Yahweh, the Lord, will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. So when you take his name in vain, he said he's not going to hold you guiltless. You're going to be held responsible for that. You're going to be held accountable for that. So we can't just play around with this, especially those of us who know the truth. Some of you Christians out there, y'all, I know that y'all feel like y'all bear his name. And I'm not going to take that away from you. I'm not going to say that you do or that you don't. That's a different discussion, a different lesson. But what we will deal with is those of us who know better, those of us who know this truth, those of us who know the laws and commandments. And we know that we know him when we keep these laws and commandments. It should be pretty simple to understand that, right? Moving on to our next verse. Let's do this. This is how we know that we know him. Let's go to 1 John chapter 2. We're going to start at verse 3. It says, Hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. Man, this scripture is plain. We know that we know him if we keep his commandments. I'm going to do something on the Sabbath, and the Sabbath says that when the scripture says that when you keep the Sabbath, it's a sign that you know who you dealing with, who you worship, who your God is. What does this scripture say? 1 John chapter 2, verse 3, and it says, we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. That if is what makes it what it is. You only know him if you keep his commandments, right? Let's read on. He that saith, I know him, and keep not his commandments. So if you say you know the Most High God, you say you know Christ, but you don't keep the commandments. He that say, I know him, and keep not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoso keep his word, so whoso keep these commandments, in him verily is the love of God perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him, right? And that's, man, these are no-brainers, right? No-brainers. Excuse me, you guys. I'm sorry about this. No-brainers, you guys, right? What does it say? Verse 6, he that saith he abide in him. So if you say that you live in the Most High God, you live in Christ, then these are the things that you can't avoid. He that said he abide in him ought himself also so to walk even as he walks. So we're supposed to walk as Christ walked if we say that we live, if we abide in Christ, or Christ abide in us, right? Lives in us, or we live in him, right? So we understand that, and that's just First John. And this is something that really I didn't even have this plan to put in the scriptures, but the Most High put it in front of me to read. He said, "Nah, you need to get this real quick too." Right? And these are the things, like all throughout the scriptures, there's no denying how important the scriptures are. Now let's move on. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 30. Proverbs 30. Proverbs 30, we're going to start at verse 8. Proverbs 30, verse 8, and it reads, "Remove far from me vanity and lies." So the psalmist is saying here, or Solomon is saying here, like, man, remove from me the vain things that are in this world. Remove from me the vain thoughts. Remove from me the lying, the things that are lying to me that make me feel like I'm above or I don't need you. Move these vain things from out of my mind, right? He says, "Remove far from me vanity and lies, and give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me." He's saying there, man, don't make me too poor and don't make me too rich. Make me content. Give me the thing that's just right for me, right? Watch, he's going to explain why. Verse 9, "Unless I be full and deny thee and say, who is Yahweh, the Lord?" So he's saying, if I be rich and I have plenty and I have more than what I need, or I have within abundance, and I say, man, look at all this I got. Who is God? I got this. All my days of hard work, all my overtime, all my investments, all my hustling or my grinding. Y'all know how we like to talk. All my grinding, me chasing that bag, right? We going to say, unless we get full and we do what? And deny the Most High. That we deny that he blessed us with this. The scriptures say that he blesses us with our riches. That he gives us the power to make money, right? It says, "Unless I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord?" Unless we deny the Most High God and don't acknowledge that he the one who blessed us with this, right? Or lest I be poor. So he said, unless I be poor, and what you do when you're poor, and steal and take the name of Yahweh, my God, in vain. See, these are ways that we take the Most High's name in vain. We just read Exodus 20. He said, don't take my name in vain. He's not going to hold you guilty. He's going to hold you accountable for that. Then we read in 1 John where he says what? We know that we know the Most High if we keep his commandments, if we know his word and we keep his words, right? This is how we know him. And he that does not keep the commandments is a liar. So we know that we know him. Israel, all my brothers and sisters with the fringes on, all my brothers and sisters with grown beards, head wraps, and trying to keep the Sabbath, trying to keep the holy days, trying to eat right and eat clean, constantly studying these scriptures. But for you, Christians who are tuning in as well, for those of you who don't know that you're Israel, for you that are tuning in as well, man, this goes out for you also. Understand that he says what? Remove far from me vanity and lies, and give me neither poverty, don't make me down here, nor riches, don't give me too much of this. Feed me with food convenient for me, unless I be full and deny thee, and say, who is the Lord? Or unless I be poor and steal, and I steal and take the name of Yahweh my God in vain. When we're not, if we know the Most High God, then we know that we're supposed to keep the commandments. But when we're opposing to the Most High God, opposing to his word, opposing to his commandments, we're taking his name in vain. Something, for example, like stealing, right? Let's get a little bit further into that. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 19. Leviticus 19. Leviticus chapter 19, verse We're going to start at verse 11. Leviticus 19:11, and it reads as thus: You shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. And you see how the Most High is doing this? He's doing this because if you're his representative, if you're his ambassador, if you're his preacher, his priest, his teacher, his example, hey, if you claim to be a child of his, right, then we can't do what? We can't steal, and we can't deal falsely with our people. Neither lie one to another. These are things that we are not supposed to do, because now you're misrepresenting the Father. You're not representing him right. You're not, as a child. We know that as children, we represent our parents when we're out in the store. This is why you see some of them parents be on their kids' head when they having temper tantrums and they falling out. Some of these good parents get on their children about that. I'm not going to say whether they pop them or whoop them or spank them or fuss at them, put them on top. That is not it. But they get on them about that because they know that's a misrepresentation of them. When those children fall out like that, when those children act out like that in public, that's a misrepresentation of their parents. Well, it's the same thing here. If you steal or deal falsely or lie to one another, we're misrepresenting our Father when we claim him, right? Watch. And ye shall not swear by my name falsely. Now, remember earlier I said this is when we say stuff like, when we think that we cuss and we say, damn, or somebody's like, Jesus Christ. Or when we say stuff like, swear to God. We're not supposed to swear. Okay, we're going to get into that. We're not supposed to swear to God because you don't want that to be sin on you if you can't complete what you're swearing, or if what you're swearing isn't all the way true, right? But we are supposed to swear to the Most High God when we being 100, when we keeping it a buck. So look what it says. It says, and you shall not swear by my name falsely. We can swear by his name, but we bet not do it falsely, right? We got to swear by his name righteously in truth, with honor and respect for his name. Taking this serious when we make that. That's a vow or an oath. I promise I'll be there to pick you up from school. I swear I'll be there to take you to work tomorrow. I promise that I'll help you pay for this. These are things that what it is, right? I swear that I'm going to always be there to sweep up after class. Or these are things that when you promise, you give an oath. For example, you swear or you give an oath or a promise when you get married, right? And we're gonna see some of this in this lesson. He says, "You shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another, and you shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shalt thou profane the name of Yahweh your God. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning." I just pulled this out just to show that all these things, we can't be fraudulent with our people. That's taking the Most High's name in vain. So when you hustling your people and you scamming your people, that's defrauding them, right? Go up to verse 12. Go up to verse 11. That's also you dealing falsely with them. That also goes into what in verse 11? That also goes into you lying to them, which kind of is a form of stealing from them, right? He says, "Thou shalt not," verse 13, "thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him." Then he goes into how we, what do you say? "The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night." That means if we say we're supposed to give somebody, hey, you know what? If you cut my grass, I'll pay you $50. You just that's the same as you dealing with them righteously if you give them the $50. But when you say, if you cut my grass, I'm going to give you $50, and then they cut your grass, and then you say, well, I'll give you 30 now, I'll pay you the other 20 tomorrow. No, that's in sin. You're taking the Most High's name in vain because you're not being a person of your word, right? And as representatives of the Most High, as children of the Most High, we have to keep. We have to keep our word. We have to be righteous. We have to be those righteous representations, those righteous ambassadors, good children, servants in whom he can be well pleased. And how do we do that? good and faithful servants and children whom he could be well pleased. Excuse me. How do we do that? By knowing him. How do we know him? First John just told us that by us keep knowing his words, by knowing his commandments and keeping them. That's how we know that we know him. That's how we know that we dealing with the Most High God. And as a result of us knowing that, then we should know that we can't what? Back to verse 11. That we can't steal and we can't deal falsely with our people. We're not supposed to lie to one another. What does he say? We're not supposed to swear by his name falsely. When we do these things, when we steal and deal with each other falsely and lie to one another, we're swearing by his name falsely. Because we're supposed to be those representatives. We're supposed to be a reflection of him. The people are supposed to see us and see his light or see his grace through us. Right? So then verse 13, thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired. So if we made a deal with somebody that we're supposed to pay them their amount, don't defraud them. If we say something is 100% this, or it's good for that, it's good quality, let it be good quality. Don't sell somebody something and defraud them. These are ways that we take the Most High's name in vain. These are ways when we take the Most High's name in vain doing these things. These are ways that we break down our communities. When we break down our communities, this has a huge impact. It's not a trickle down. It has a huge impact on how this affects us as a nation. Because when we can't trust each other in our communities, that spreads across the nation. Somebody just moves from this community to the other community and they take that I can't trust them attitude, that I can't trust nobody mentality with them. And then when they come across more brothers and sisters, more Hebrews and Shebrews, more children of the Most High God, more representatives, more ambassadors, more teachers, more preachers, more priests of the Most High God. And then when they come across these people and they have the I can't trust these people mentality because of the community they just left, did what? It stole from them. Verse 11, it stole from them. What else did it do? It dealt falsely with them. What else did it do? It lied to them. Right? These are go down to verse 13. What else did it do? It defrauded them. It robbed them of their wages. Go up to verse 12. And how did they do it? They swore by the Most High's name falsely. I got you, bro, on the trip. On God. You know, our people let us say, on God. Right? And this is why we can't do that. It'll be sin unto you. We're going to move around. I hope that I planted a seed or tilled the ground or watered the plant. Of course, the Most High gives and gets the increase. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 6. Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 13. Deuteronomy 6 and 13, and it reads as thus. Thou shalt fear Yahweh thy God and serve him and shalt swear by his name. So yes, we can swear by his name, but we have to take that serious. We have to do what we say we're going to do. If I'm going to pay you this amount at the end of the day for the work that you did, then I need to be about that. If I say I'm going to be there for someone, I need to be about that. I can't defraud you. I can't. If I say that this is 100% cotton, it needs to be 100% cotton. If I say this car I'm selling you is a quality car and a good machine, it needs to be that. We need to have our word needs to be our bond. Not only is it a misrepresentation of the Most High God when we don't do those things, but like I said earlier, it also is a breakdown of our community, which ultimately breaks down of our nation of people when we don't do those things. We have to be upright. We have to represent the Most High God constantly, because once people see who you are, once people know that you're Israel, every little thing you did, looking for every little mistake, right? So, well, if we do swear, what? Verse 13, Deuteronomy 6, verse 13. Thou shalt fear Yahweh your God and serve him and shalt swear by his name. Remember, we just read in Leviticus that we don't swear by his name falsely. So don't play with that. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. And let's see what our big brother Christ has to say about it. I'm sure some of y'all already know where I'm going with this. Matthew chapter 5. Let's go to verse 33. Again, ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old, of old time. Thou shalt not forswear thyself, but thou shalt perform unto Yahweh thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne. So you see, Christ is telling you, don't swear at all. Don't do it. You don't want to make that be sin unto you. You don't want to swear that you're going to do something and you can't do it. You don't want to swear that something is quality and it's not what you thought. You don't want to swear that you can do this or do that, be here or be there, or pay somebody what you owe them. Don't swear that. This is why he said, what does he say? Verse 34, but I say unto you, swear not at all. So just don't even do it, right? Neither by heaven, for it is God's throne. So don't even swear by heaven. It used to be back in the day, you used to put their hands in the sky and say, I swear by heaven. I swear for Lord. Stuff like that, right? So what does he say? Verse 35. Nor by the earth. Don't even swear by something on the earth. For it is his footstool. Neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. So don't even swear by Jerusalem. Don't even swear by the holy city, right? Look what he says. Verse 36. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head. So don't even put that on yourself. I put that on me, right? That's what our people love to say that stuff. On mamas, nigga. I put that on my mom. I put that on myself. Nigga, on God. On my baby. On my unborn. On my dead. Like, we like to say this kind of stuff. But he says what? Go back to verse 34. I say unto you, swear not at all. Drop down to verse 36. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head. So don't even put it on yourself. Why don't put it on yourself? Because thou canst not make one hair white or black. Because you don't belong to yourself. You belong to the Most High God. Don't swear on yourself. Don't put that sin on you. Don't put yourself in that kind of situation or predicament, right? So he says, I like how that went. Verse 34, but I say unto you, swear not at all. Drop down to verse 36. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black. So he's saying don't swear, but this is how we should do things. Verse 37, but let your communication be yea, yea, or yeah, yeah, nay, nay, or no, no. So when you say yea, Y-E-A, that's Old English for yeah. You can even pronounce it yeah if you want. You see the only difference is it doesn't have the H. When you see N-A-Y, nay, that means no. So he's saying, let your communication, don't swear by, he said, don't swear at all. Don't even swear on don't even put it on yourself. He's saying, if you're going to make an oath, let it be what? Let your communication be yeah or no. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. So anything beyond you saying, yeah, I got it, or no, I don't, that's evil. That turns into a lie. That turns into fraud. That turns into false swearing. So let's not do that, right? We want to be able to be people of our word, like the Most High God is. The Most High God said, hey, I'm going to beat the hell out of Egypt. He did that. The Most High God said, I'm going to lead y'all. He led us. The Most High God said, I'm going to feed y'all. He fed us. The Most High God said, y'all, I'm going to take y'all, I'm going to give y'all this land. And he did all of that. You can see these things recorded throughout the Torah. You can see this recorded throughout through Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and even in Joshua. You see these things that he said he was going to do that he did. And you see many more things that he said he was going to do when you're reading the prophets that he said that are going to pass. Some of them have already come to pass, and some of them are currently coming to pass, and some of them are future prophecies. But the Most High God does not lie. And he wants us as his children, as his representatives, as his priests, as his teachers, as his examples, as reflections of his light, as reflections of his glory. He wants us to be people of his word and to not lie either. That's why he's saying, don't swear at all. Don't even swear by yourself. Let your communication be yea or yeah or nay or no. Simple, right? Let's keep going. Let's go to Isaiah 44, and we're going to start at verse 1. And this is just as big because we have to understand that the Most High God, those of us who know the truth, who know our true nationality, who know our true heritage, our true custom, our true culture, as Hebrew Israelites, we understand that Hebrew is our language, Hebrew is our custom, Hebrew is our culture. And so we have to understand that as the children of Israel, he made a covenant with us, or he made a contract, or he made an agreement, he made a vow or an oath to us that we would be a wife, like unto a wife to him, that we would be his children, that he tells us all the time that we're his everything. He loves us, he adores us so much. Let's go to Isaiah 44. I want to go to verse 1. And just look at how he says this about us. Isaiah chapter 44, verse 1. Yet now hear, O Jacob. You already know, if you don't know, Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Jacob had 12 sons. His 12 sons became the forefathers of the nation of Israel. This is why we're the Israelites. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. So look what he says. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant. So Jacob is his servant. And Israel, whom I have chosen. Israel is who he chose. What did he choose Israel to be? He says his servant. As his servants, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to go be representatives and ambassadors of him. We're supposed to reflect his light. We're supposed to be his spokespersons, right? So he says, Jacob, my servant, Israel, whom I chose. Let's drop down to verse 5. And look what he says. One shall say, I am the Lord's. One of who? One of Jacob or Israel, which they are the same people. Jacob and Israel are the same people. He's talking about the same nation of people, the Israelites. So some of us going to say what? I am the Lord's. Or I am Yahweh's. And another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. So some of us are going to call ourselves Israelites. Some of us are going to say, I'm the child of Jacob. Right? And another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh. So some of us are going to put our hand up and say, I swear I'm him. I belong to him. I subscribe to him, right? And with his hand unto the Lord, unto Yahweh, and surname himself by the name of Israel. Surname. What is a surname? A surname is, so there's a difference. Your surname is what you take, if you're a woman, when you get married, the surname is what you take, is the last name you take from your husband. So if your last name was Jackson, and then you got married, and if you're a woman and your last name was Jackson, and you got married to a man, and your husband's last name is Robinson, your maiden name was Jackson, but your surname, your current name, your current last name, your husband's last name that you will be taking would be Robertson. In this case, the Most High God is saying we'll be surnamed Israel. The Most High God gave Jacob that name. He changed. Look, his name was Jacob. When the Most High and Jacob finally had their discussion, or they were in front of each other, he changed his name. He surnamed Jacob from Jacob to Israel. And so this is why we have to understand that we currently wear his surname when we call ourselves the children of the Most High. When we say that we're the children of Israel, we have that surname. And as that surname, that means that we're now carrying his name. If we're carrying his name, we're his representatives. We're his wife. We're his children. We're his servants. We belong to the house of the Most High God. And if we belong to the house of the Most High God at all times, even if we are just his servant, then we have to represent our master in the right way. We're going to touch on some of that too. But let's read this one more time. Let's go 44:1 and then verse 5. What does it say? Yet now, hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. One shall say, I am the Lord's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel. So one's going to, he's going to raise his hand, and he's going to swear by the name of the Most High God that he is Israel. And like I said earlier, if you know the story, the Most High God surnamed Jacob. He surnamed him into Israel, right? We have to, as these representatives, as these ambassadors, we have to represent the Most High God right and keep his commandment. Otherwise, we're taking that name in vain. We can't be out here stealing, right? Leviticus 19. We can't be out here stealing. We can't be out here defrauding. We can't be out here lying. We can't swear falsely by the Most High God, because then we're misrepresenting him, and that will be taking his name in vain. as what? As someone who has surnamed ourselves by him. Right? Watch. Surname. Remember, surname mean that we took his name. Like a wife would take her husband's name, right? Let's go forward. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 3. Jeremiah chapter 3, and we're going to go to verse 12. Jeremiah 3, verse 12, and it reads, Go and proclaim these words towards the north, and say, Return, thou backsliding Israel. So we see who he's talking to. Return, thou backsliding Israel, saith Yahweh the Lord, and I will not cause my anger to fall upon you. For I am merciful, saith the Lord, saith Yahweh, and will not keep my anger. Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against Yahweh your God, and hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree. Ye have not obeyed my voice, saith Yahweh. So when you pay attention, he's saying scattered your ways under every green tree. You got to keep it kind of you got to keep it PG-13 right now. And what he's talking about when he's talking about scattering your ways under every green tree, he's saying that you are under the tree. You're scattering your ways. You're opening your legs. You're spreading your legs to be an unfaithful wife, to be an unfaithful woman, because we're the Most High God's bride as a nation of people. You Christians, you already know that y'all say, well, the church is the bride of Christ. Well, actually, when you read in the scriptures according to how it goes, Israel is the church. The nation of Israel is the church. The nation of Israel is the congregation. The nation of Israel is Christ's bride. This is in the scripture. It's proven 1,000 times. That's a different lesson for a different time. And believe me, if there are any questions about it, we can get into it. We can go over that. But for the sake of this, for time of this lesson, let's understand that the Most High is saying that we did what? Scatter thy ways to the strangers. We're playing the harlot with these strangers. But we're the wife of the Most High. We're the bride of the Most High God. We're the bride of Christ, right? Excuse me. He scatter thy ways to the strangers under every green tree, and ye have not had. And when we scatter our ways, when we played that harlot, how did we do that? What did he say? And ye have not obeyed my voice, saith Yahweh. See, by us not obeying his voice, we're scattering our ways. We're playing the harlot. We're being a bad wife, is what this verse is going into. Watch what it says. Verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahweh the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you, one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. So you see here, he's saying, I'm married to you. He's saying, what does he say when he starts it off? Turn, O backsliding children. Go back up. He says, only acknowledge your iniquity, and that thou hast transgressed against the Most High God. How did we do that? Matter of fact, go back up one. What does he say? Return, return thou backsliding Israel. Then drop down. What does he say? Acknowledge your iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against the Lord. How did we transgress against you, Father? By scattering your ways to these strangers and not obeying my voice. Turn, O backsliding children, for I am married unto you. So he's saying we got to come back to him and obey him. This is how we honor his name, by being obedient to his word. What is his word? No other gods before him. No idols. Don't take his name in vain. Keeping the Sabbath day. Honoring our parents. Don't murder. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't bear false witness against your brethren. And don't be covetous. These are the simple 10 that he told us to do. Right? So when we do this, when we scatter our ways and are disobedient to his voice, we're taking his name in vain. When we're disobeying and when we're scattering our ways and being disobedient to his voice, what are we doing? Go back to Leviticus 19. We're lying, we're dealing falsely, we're defrauding, and and what else? Ultimately, we're swearing falsely by his name. We're taking his name in vain when we do these things, right? Let's move on. Let's go back to Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 54. Isaiah 54. Isaiah 54, we're going to start at verse 5. Isaiah 54, verse 5. We look what it says. For thy maker, who's the maker, you guys? The Most High God is the maker. He's the creator of everything. So says Genesis chapter 1, 2, and 3. Right? For thy maker is thine husband. Right? The Lord of hosts is his name. And thy redeemer, the Holy One of who? Israel. The God of the whole earth shall he be called. For Yahweh hath called thee as a woman, forsaken and grieved in spirit, and a wife of youth, when thou wast refused, saith Yahweh. So here right here I showed you earlier in the scripture where he's saying, I'm married to you. And you look here, what is he saying? He's the husband. So when we out here in the world, if we're having other gods, if we are stealing, if we are committing adultery, if we are not keeping the Sabbath, if we are breaking these commandments, then what are we doing? We're not being a good wife. What did he just call us? Verse 6. And a wife of youth, a young wife, a favored wife, right? But if we're not keeping these commandments, remember when we started off in 1 John, one of the first precepts we hit 1 John, he said, we know him if we keep his commandments. No, and when you read in the scriptures and it says no, it doesn't just mean to have knowledge of, it means in a close, intimate way to have that knowledge of, to have close, intimate knowledge of someone, to be close, right? To be close. We know what it means when you're close to your wife, when you're close to your brother, when you have a close friend, right? So this is with the same thing. In 1 John, when it said, we know that we know him if we keep his commands, we know that we have that close, intimate relationship. We have a knowledge that everybody else doesn't know because we keep those commandments. We know that person that tight, that close. We know their favorite food, their favorite drink, their favorite TV show. And when you have a spouse, you know them. You know the good things, you know the things that they're going to accept. You know the things that they're going to make them happy. You know the things they're not going to accept. You know the things that are going to make them angry. The things that are going to disappoint them. You know this. And so when you know those things and you're in a relationship with someone, you usually try to operate in a way that usually keeps them happy, right? And here it is. What is the Most High saying? Verse 5. Thy maker is thine husband, right? This should be easy. Drop down to verse 6. The Lord hath called thee as a woman, and a wife of youth. This is a no-brainer. We have to be a good wife. I know that sounds crazy, but when you understand the metaphor of it, we have to be a good wife. A good wife represents her husband, and her being surnamed by her husband or taking his name it's not embarrassing. It's not shameful. But when you have a wife and she's out there, she's in all these men's face, she's sitting on different men's lap, then you come to find out that she done slept with a couple of people in the neighborhood, she got a work boyfriend, right? That's taking your name in vain. That's dishonoring your name. So this is what the Most High God, this is why the Most High God is referring to us as a wife of his youth, as a woman. This is why he's saying, I'm married unto you. I'm your husband. Take my name and honor it. Don't take my name in vain and be promiscuous, right? Don't take my name and sleep around with these different gods. Don't take my name and follow these other nations into their wickedness. No, that's not what you are. You're my woman. You're my wife of my youth, right? I'm married unto you. I am the husband. This is what the Most High God is saying. So when we are a whorish wife, when we're a promiscuous wife, when we're being spreading our ways to all the strangers, right? As we read in Jeremiah and in Isaiah, that we're not being good wives. And when we're not being good wives, we're taking the Most High God's name in vain because we're misrepresenting Him, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 14:1. And if y'all know me, y'all probably know this is one of my more favorites. Y'all know I love Deuteronomy 14:1. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14, verse 1, and it reads thus: Ye are the children of Yahweh, the Lord, your God. So now I've dealt with us being His wife. I've dealt with us being His woman. I've shown how He is our husband, right? That He is married unto us, and so that we have to represent Him right as a wife. Well, now we're going to deal with Him as our heavenly Father, right? And what does He say? You are the children of Yahweh, your God. So He's telling us who we are. You my kids, is what He's saying. Y'all ever remember when you were younger and you be outside playing, or you was at school and you did something that you wasn't supposed to do, and your mom or your father or maybe your grandparents might have said, well, why did you do that? And you said, well, they was over there doing it, and what your parents say, what your guardians say. I don't care what they doing. You mine. You my son. You my daughter. You know that they're telling us right here. This is the same situation. Look what the Most High God is saying. You are the children of Yahweh, your God. So He's saying, you mine. You're my kids. And then He begins to instruct us. What does He say? You shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. So He's telling you there, you my kids, I don't want to see no cuts, and I don't want you to shave your head. Then what does he explains it? For thou art a holy people. We're special. Ain't this just like your dad? Ain't this just like your parent? They tell you, I don't care what them other kids do. You don't do that. You my baby, and I don't want you doing that. Then they love you up and say, what? For thou art a holy people, because you special to me. I love you so much. I don't know. I don't want you playing in the street, because if you get hit by a car, I don't know how I'm gonna take that. No, I don't want you going around there without just by yourself, because if somebody kidnap you, I don't know how I'm gonna take that. I don't know how to deal with that. My heart will be broke. No, I don't want you over there messing with them, because they always get them kids. They always getting in trouble, and I don't want you getting in trouble with them, because then I'm gonna be mad at you, right? What He says: "Ye are the children of the Lord your God. You shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For you are a holy people unto Yahweh your God, to the Lord your God. And the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto Himself, above all the nations that are upon the earth." And then the rest of this chapter, he continues to instruct us. So we have to understand that He did what? Verse 2, He said that we are chosen, that we're a holy people, and He chose us to be be a peculiar people above all the nations that are on the face of this earth. Because we bear His name as His children. Because we bear His name as His wife. So if we're His children and His wife, please understand, He's calling us His family. And if we're the family of the Most High, then we have to represent that right. To have the Most High God as your patriarch of your family, man, that's a big deal. That's a huge honor. And when we're out here and we're not keeping law, statutes, and commandments, then we're disgracing that name. We're disgracing the Most High God's name. We're taking His name in vain like that. When we do what? Leviticus 19 and 11 through 13 again. When we lie, when we defraud each other, when we take His name in vain, when we bear false witness, swear by His name falsely, right? These are the things, when we deal falsely with our brother, these are ways that we're misrepresenting Him. What else? What's another way that we take His name in vain? We read it in 1 John, that we know Him when we keep His commandments, when we're not keeping commandments. They're not just stealing, not just lying, not just being fraudulent, but also in what? Committing adultery and having idols and not keeping the Sabbath day. For those of you who don't know any better, his holy days are Sabbath days. So not keeping his holy days. Look, we in Deuteronomy 14, and I just read where he said that we're his children. Don't do this. Why? Because we're his holy people, and he chose us to be a peculiar people above all the nations. And then he says, don't, verse 3, thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. Even the things that we eat, we can misrepresent the Most High God and take his name in vain. Because we are his family, and we represent him. When people see us, they should be seeing him. They should be seeing the Father, right? This is why you read in the script in the Gospels where Christ says, "Let your light so shine so that men can see the glory of the Most High through you." And I'm roughly paraphrasing. I might have kind of butchered it, but that's pretty much what it is saying. This is why when you read in Deuteronomy, I believe it's in Deuteronomy 4, where he says, you know what? The nation's going to look at you and they're going to say, "What? Look at this wise and understanding people." Why are they saying that? Because we're keeping his commandments. We're representing him right. They said that after they said that these are wise and understanding people, that God must be with them. Right? And this is why. Because we're representing him right. We're not taking his name in vain. Let's stay in the Torah. Let's go to Exodus chapter 4. Get it. One more about us being his child, right? Exodus 4. We're going to go to verse 22. Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith Yahweh, the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. You see here, you see here the Most High God is calling us his son. We're his children. And so and what he want us to do? To go serve him. Verse 22. I say unto thee, Exodus 4, verse 23, excuse me. I say unto thee, let my son go. What did he want us to let him go? What did he want Pharaoh to let us go for? That he may serve me. We're his servants. And as his servants, we have to understand that we're his representatives. And I'm gonna get into this, that we're his representatives, his ambassadors, his priests, right? We're his mouthpiece. So when the Most High God has given us, he gave us these scriptures. He gave us these scriptures so that we should rule and be above the nations. Not saying that we're superior to them, but he is saying that he chose us to do a particular thing. And what is that? Our job is to represent him, to be ambassadors, to be his priests, so we can teach the other nations how to live righteous. Not them living over us, but so that we live over them and live righteous, and so that they follow our example, so that when they need understanding, that we break it down and give them understanding on our Father, right? On how to follow our Father, how to walk in his house. They always want to talk about being adopted and grafted in and adopted in. Well, you're not finna get in. The Most High is not going to adopt you if you're not going to follow his rules in his house. And what are his rules? No other gods, no idols. Don't take his name in vain. I'm stressing that because that's the lesson we're doing. Keep his Sabbath. Honor your parents. Don't murder. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't bear false witness. And don't covet. And these things, and remember, like I said, his Sabbaths, his holy days are Sabbaths as well. So when I say, honor his Sabbath, I'm also talking about his holy days. But he's saying that you keep his word. Remember, 1 John said that we know him if we know his word. If we keep his word. Right? This is why this makes sense. This is why he says, verse 23, and I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. We're going to learn how to serve him. We're going to learn how to worship him. We're going to learn what's right. And then we're going to go out into this world, and people are going to want to know about God, and we're going to be that light that they can see, that they can come to, that they can gain understanding through. And that's what we're supposed to be. So when it says that he may go serve me, that's what he's talking about. Let my son go. Man, stop trying to make my son follow your religion. Stop trying to make my people follow your ways, your customs. Here in America, we follow American customs. American customs have twisted our mind. Capitalist society has twisted our mind. We have become individuals instead of being a community. And being individuals and not being a community is what is. Guess what that is? That's taking the Most High's name in vain. Because you know what being an individual gonna do? It'll cause you to defraud your brother. Being an individual will cause you to exploit your people for the sake of your individuality, right? Let's move on. Let's go to the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus in your Apocrypha. Go to the book of Sirach, chapter 40, and we're going to start at verse 18. The book of Sirach, chapter 40, verse 18. And it reads as thus. Look what it says. To labor and to be content with that a man hath is a sweet life. That goes exactly back to Proverbs 30 verses 8 through 8 and 9, where he says, feed me with food convenient for me. So what is he saying? To be content with that a man hath is a sweet life. Give me food convenient for me. Don't make me super rich where I forget about you. Don't make me poor where I feel like I need to steal and I take your name in vain. No, instead do what? Give me food convenient for me. Do what? To labor and to be content with that a man hath is a sweet life. But he that find a treasure is above them both. So when you do find treasure, understand that's a wonderful thing. Yeah. But just to be content with what the Most High blessed you with, so that way you're not trying to defraud your brother. You're not trying to lie to your people. You're not trying to exploit them. You're not trying to I said defraud, I said lie, I said exploit. You're not trying to do any of those things to your people, right? You're not taking the Most High in vain by doing those things. Then what does it say? Verse 19. Look how it does this. Children in the building of a city continue a man's name. So children can continue your name. When you have sons, then they pass. If your last name is if your last name is Johnson, and you have sons and their last name is Johnson, and they have sons and their last name, it continues on and continues and continues and continues. When you have a city named after you, right? That city will forever, if your city is named, if there's a city called Gabar, as long as that city is named Gabar, people will forever know it. Oh, this city is named after this person named Gabar. Right? So this is what it is saying. Children and the building of a city continue a man's name. Well, look at this. But a blameless wife is accounted above them both. So when you have a righteous wife, when she's not out in everybody in every man's face, when she ain't trying to sit on somebody's lap, when she don't got a work husband, when she not flirting with everybody, when she's a keeper at home, when she take care of the kids and she take care of the husband, when she's that woman, it says that is above having your name carried on by your children. That is above you having a city named after you, right? But what did we just read in Jeremiah 3, Isaiah 54? What did we just read in Deuteronomy 14 and Exodus 4? We read about how we the Most High's wife, how we his woman, how we his children, basically how we're his family. And what's the best thing he said? It says, let's get it one more time. Verse 19, bottom line, a blameless wife is counted above them both. So he says, the children in the city continue a man's name. So let's continue the Most High's name by being righteous, by being fair with our brethren, by speaking righteous things, by holding righteous judgment. Let us be righteous children by upholding that. Let us be these righteous ambassadors, these righteous examples, by upholding that. You know what? I'm the son of the Most High. I'm a daughter of the Most High. I have to represent that, right? But then as his wife, what does it say? We have to represent that there too. We can't go or whoring after other gods, or whoring after these other nations. We can't go whoring after their politics, their holidays, and their customs and culture. We can't do that stuff, right? Because that would be taking the Most High's name in vain. Because then, soon as we do that, soon as you set that Christmas tree in your house, you don't realize you just put another God in your house. As soon as you decide, I'm gonna go to church on Sunday, I don't need to go on the Sabbath. You just decided that you're not gonna keep the Most High's day that He established in Genesis, in creation. You're gonna keep the day that mankind made for the Son God at that, right? We have to understand that these are the things that represent us. We're not going to be liars. We're going to be defraudulent. We're not going to deal with our brethren falsely. We're not going to be exploitive to our people. We have to understand that these are the things that make us, these are the things that cause us to take the Most High's name in vain, right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10. Something else the Most High God calls us, or that we're considered, is His sheep. We're the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right? Watch this. Let's go to Matthew chapter 10. And most of y'all probably already know where I'm going. Matthew chapter 10, we're going to start at verse. I'm going to start at verse 1, and I'm going to jump around a little bit. Matthew chapter 10, verse 1. And when He had called unto Him the 12 disciples, when He had called unto Him His 12 disciples, He gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Verse 5. These 12 Yahushua, Jesus, sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. So He's like, don't go deal with these other nations. Who does He tell us to go to? But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He's calling us the lost sheep, right? Stay in Matthew. Go to 15. I know y'all know where I'm going. Matthew 15, verse 24. Matthew 15, 24. And it reads as thus. But He answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So Christ said it in Matthew chapter 10 and in Matthew 15 that He's dealing with He sent His disciples to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and that He Himself, He personally is not sent to everyone. He's not sent to the world. He's sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He is not here to marry everybody's congregation or every nation. He's here for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. We already read where He said, I'm married unto you, Israel. And now here He is saying that He's only sent for them. Right? But He sent to these sheep, right? Now, He sent to these sheep. Let's go to Isaiah 53. And look what it said. Isaiah 53, verse 6. It reads as thus. All we, like sheep, have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way. And Yahweh, the Lord, hath laid on Him, Christ, the iniquity of us all. So this Isaiah 53 is a prophecy of Christ. So here it is. He's saying that we've gone away like sheep, like these lost sheep. And these lost sheep, what happens? Christ is like, hey man, you know what? I'm here for these. I'm here for these particular sheep. And what do? Sheep follow the shepherd. We need to follow our shepherd. Because if we're not following our shepherd, he's probably that. Then if we're not following Christ, who was sent by the Most High as our shepherd, if the Most High sent Christ to be our shepherd and we're not following Him, then we may not be the Most High in Christ's sheep. Maybe we belong to someone else. Watch. So we sent to these lost sheep, right? Let me get something else real quick. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 25. What does Peter even say about us? 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 25. And ye were as sheep going astray. We just read where in Isaiah where he said that we were sheep and we all went astray, that we all went our own way, right? Isaiah 53 in verse 6. All we like sheep have gone astray and have turned everyone to his own way. Go back to 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 25. For ye were as sheep going astray, but are now returned unto the shepherd and bishop of your souls. We're returned to our shepherd. Who's our shepherd? Christ. The Most High sent us plenty of shepherds. Moses was a shepherd. Christ is a shepherd, right? He sent us these shepherds to lead us, right? And as the Most High's sheep, as the Most High's, what else? Children, as the Most High's wife, we have to understand that there's no need for us to defraud our people. There's no need for us to lie to our people. There's no need for us to deal falsely with our people. There's no need for us to exploit our people. There's no need for us to misrepresent him in those ways, because he's going to take care of us. He's going to do everything we need. Now that we're referring to us as his sheep, let's just pay attention to this. Let's go to Psalm 23. And I'm just going to get just verse 1. I might get 2, but for sure we're going to get verse 1. Psalm 23, verse 1. What does it say? Yahweh is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Now, if you pay attention, if we're sheep and he's our shepherd and we don't want, what does that mean? We have to get verse 2. He make me to lie down in green pastures. Where do sheep eat? They eat in the pasture. They eat the green pastures. Well, here it is. He says that we shall not want. What shall we not want? For sure we're not going to want food, because he's blessing us to lay down in that green pasture. It means that we're surrounded by everything that we need. But watch. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He make me to lie down in green pastures. He make me to have plenty of food. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He makes sure I have plenty to drink. He restore my soul. He lead me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. You see that? For his name's sake. That's perfect. I didn't even have that. I didn't even really have that plan, but the Most High did. The Most High God did. So he's gonna provide for us, is what the scripture is saying. There's no need for us to be liars, to be fraudulent, for us to deal falsely, for us to exploit our people. I keep bringing these 4 things up because these are 4 ways that we take the Most High's name in vain every day. Even those of us who know the truth. When we call ourselves being hustlers, on the grind, chasing the bag. These are ways that we take the Most High name in vain. Being exploitive, being fraudulent, dealing falsely. But guess what? Also, by us having other gods, dealing with idols, taking his name in vain, not keeping his Sabbath day, committing adultery, right? Committing murder. We already seen where he says stealing in Leviticus 19. So these are the things that we do. But if the Most High God is our shepherd, I shall not want. I shall not want to steal. Because I know that I shall not want to steal. I shall not need to. I am not going to even need to do those things. Why? Because he make me to lie down in green pastures. He makes sure I have everything around me. He lead me beside still waters. I lay down in a field full of food, and I got still waters right here that I could just drink all day long. And what else? He restores my soul, and he leads me in the path of righteousness. Why does he do it? Is it because of me? Is it because I've been a good son? No. Scriptures say that we are hard-headed, stiff-necked people. Is it because I've been a good wife? No. We already read in Isaiah and in Jeremiah how we've been bad wives. We spread our way. We spread our legs. We've been promiscuous. We've been sleeping around with the strangers of these other nations, their gods, their politics, their customs, right? But he didn't do it for us. It says he did it for what? For his name's sake. Bottom line of verse 3. For his name's sake did he do this. So even as his sheep, we have to understand that we shall not want. He's going to provide everything for us. Even as his sheep, he's going to make us lie down in green pastures. We can eat when we represent him right. He's going to make us have plenty of food. That's the green pastures. Still waters. That's water to drink. A righteous path. For his name's sake, though, because we don't deserve it. For his name's sake, because he's not going to take his name in vain. He's not going to misrepresent himself either. For his name's sake does he do it, right? Now let's get John chapter 10. We almost done, y'all. I'll be landing the plane soon. John chapter 10. John chapter 10, we're going to go to verse 11. This is the Gospel of John, or Saint John, chapter 10. I'm going to show that verse 11. So we just read how we are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. We read where the Most High God said that, where the scriptures say that the Most High God is our shepherd. Right? John chapter 10, verse 11. What does it say? I am the good shepherd, and the good shepherd give his life for the sheep. This is Christ saying the same thing. I come to do the Most High's will. I'm the shepherd that he sent, right? I give my life for these sheep. Drop down to verse 14. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep. He know you. And am known of mine. This is why those of us who are in this truth, when we heard his word, we heard those laws and those commandments, when we heard Deuteronomy 28, we heard him talking to us. We heard him calling out to us. It was something that was there that said, nah, I gotta do this. That was us hearing that. Let's not take his name in vain. We heard him calling us. We answered the call. Let's not take his name in vain, right? Let's stay in John chapter 10. Let's skip over. Let's skip up. Let's go to verse 4. Because he said what? Let's hit 14. I am the good shepherd and know my sheep and am known of mine. And he know his sheep and his sheep know him. Watch. Let's go to verse 4. John chapter 10, verse 4. What does it say? And when he put forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. This is why when we hear this, we walking in it. This is why so many of us have decided to put on fringes. This is why so many of us, we didn't used to own one Bible. Now we own 3, 4, 5 Bibles. This is why we looking up places that we never been to, never thought about going to visit. You never thought about taking a vacation to go visit Israel or Jerusalem. No, you wanted to go to Florida. You wanted to go to Los Angeles. You wanted to go to New York or Chicago or Philly. You know, you wanted to go see the big cities. But you never said, I want to go to Israel. I want to go to Jerusalem. I want to go to Tel Aviv. I want to go to Damascus. You never said that. But now you come to this truth, and now it's all clicking to you, right? You're known of him, and you hear his voice. Verse 4, and when he put forth his own sheep, he go before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Verse 5, and a stranger they will not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. And this is why we get into it with so many of our Christian brothers and sisters, our Muslim brothers and sisters, our atheist brothers and sisters. Because, well, whose voice is that told you that? Who told you to go do those things? Who said that we don't have to keep his laws and his commandments? This is not religion. This is just the law of how we're supposed to live our life. Who told you that this is religion? Who told you that some stranger told you that? And this is why we run away from those things. This is why we combat those things. Right? Because we're trying to be righteous sons, righteous daughters, righteous wife, sheep that follow the shepherd's voice. We're trying to make sure we don't take his name in vain. He called us and we heard it and we acknowledged it. We acknowledged him calling us, right? Let's go back to stay in John chapter 10. Let's skip over to verse 15. John chapter 10, verse 15. What does it say? As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. So we understand that he's the good shepherd. And he came and he was willing. And he not only was he willing, he didn't want to, but he was willing to for the sake of us and to do the Most High God's work. He said, I'll lay down my life for the sheep. I'll get the skin whipped off my back. I'll be hung, right? Let's start landing this plane, y'all. Let's go to 2 Corinthians. Our last thing that we should understand are we are the Most High God's representatives. So you really can't be a representative and take his name in vain, right? This word that I'm finna use, that we finna pull up and use, it really means just that. It's a representative. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 5. I'm gonna go to verse 20. 2 Corinthians 5 and 20. Now we are ambassadors for Christ. We're the ambassadors for Christ. No man in 2026. No man in 2020. No man in 1990. No man in 1980. In 1970. 60. 50. No man in the 1800s. None of them can say that, going all the way back until you go back to when Christ was walking this earth. No man can say that they saw Christ and he told them this or that and the third. We are his ambassadors, Israel. Those of us who know this truth. Those of us who know that we have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. We started off in 1 John where he said what? We know him if we keep his commandments. Those of us who keeping these commandments. Kwam Yasharala, I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud. I don't care what camp, congregation, individual life, what church. I'm proud of us all for trying to do this. All praises to the Most High God. Pat yourself on the back. But also pick yourself up, humble yourself down, and let's keep doing this work. Right? Because what? 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 20. Now, then we are ambassadors for Christ. That's why. Humble yourself down. Stand up and do this work because we are ambassadors. What is an ambassador? An ambassador is a representative for someone. If America sends an ambassador to China, that ambassador tells China, the Chinese people or the Chinese embassy what the plans are, what the goal is, what the agreement is. That ambassador speaks for that country. Well, as ambassadors for Christ, we should be here, not speaking for Christ, but just showing the truth of what Christ is saying. Matthew chapter 5, where he says, I come not to destroy the law, right, but to fulfill. That not even one little dot, or not a crossing of the I, or a dot of the I, or a crossing of the T shall fade from this. And that if you teach someone to break the smallest commandment, you're going to be least in the kingdom. But we got to teach and do these things. This is what Christ said, Matthew chapter 5. What else? Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20 says, according to the law and the testimony. We just read in 1 John that we know him if we keep his commandments. Christ says in John chapter 14, verse 15, if you love him, keep his commandments. These are the things that we have to do so that we can be his what? For 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 20. Now we are ambassadors. We have to know and do and keep these commandments. And when we know, do, and keep the commandments, we should be telling people and teaching people, edifying people, exposing lies, breaking down falsehoods with these words, being the ambassadors of the Most High in Christ. We can't, if we're his ambassadors, we can't take his name in vain. So it says what? Now, 2 Corinthians 5, verse 20. Now then, we are ambassadors for Christ, as though Yahweh, God, did beseech you by us. We pray you in Hamashiach, Christ's stead, be ye reconciled to God. Right? So we are those ambassadors. As ambassadors, what are we? Well, he told us in Exodus chapter 19. Exodus chapter 19. If y'all know me, you already know where I'm going. Y'all, that's one of my favorites. Exodus 19, start at verse 3. And Moses went up unto Yahweh, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel. Skip up to verse 5. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, so we have to obey him. You have to keep his commandments. Remember, we started off at 1 John. If we know him, we're going to keep his commandments. We're going to keep his word. He says, now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. As his ambassadors, what will we be? And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. This is why it's imperative that we know his commandments. 1 John, that we know and do and keep his commandments. Deuteronomy 10 and 12. That's what's required, that we keep and do his commandments. Because when we don't, we take his name in vain, as we saw several times over in the scriptures. And when we don't know and do and keep his commandments, we're not being good children. We're not being a good spouse. We're being, do we belong to him? We have to ask ourselves, if we're not keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, if we're not keeping his word, are we his sheep? Is he our shepherd? We have to ask ourselves this, right? Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5. I already, if I get it for you in Old Testament, I try to get it for you in the New Testament as well. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5. So we just read in Exodus where he said that we are a nation of kings and priests. Because this is the book of 1 Peter chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 5. Ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices, acceptable to Yahweh by Yahushua HaMashiach, acceptable to God by Jesus Christ. Drop down. He says, ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. Here what you see is Peter is quoting Exodus 19. He's quoting it. He's quoting Exodus 19 verses 5 and 6, but he's paraphrasing it. A peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. You see this? That we're supposed to do what? Show forth the praises of him. If we're taking his name in vain, if we are stealing, if we are being fraudulent, if we're dealing falsely with our people, if we're swearing falsely by his name, if we're being a bad spouse by dealing with these other gods, if we're being a bad spouse or a bad child by dealing with these other gods, or dealing with these politics, if we're being deceived by being individuals instead of being a nation, instead of being a community, and exploiting our people, if we're being bad sons, being a bad spouse by celebrating these holidays that belong to these different religions and these different gods, then guess what? We're not showing the praises of him. But when we're keeping his laws, such as commandments, and you're walking in that, and you're teaching that, and you're talking that, now you're showing the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. This is what Christ is talking about when he says, let your light so shine. Right? Let's get these last two verses. Let's go to Malachi chapter. You know what? We got to get it. So I brought it up a couple of times. I'm sorry, y'all. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. We're going to start at verse 16. What does he say? Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So this is how we go back to 2 Corinthians 5:20. This is how we are supposed to be as those ambassadors. Going back to Exodus 19 verses 5 and 6, this is how we're supposed to be as that nation of kings and priests. We're supposed to do what? Let our light shine before men, that they may see our good works and glorify the Father which is in heaven. This is how we represent him. This is how we those ambassadors. This is how we don't take his name in vain, right? Let's wrap it up. Let's go to Malachi chapter 2. So as a nation of kings and priests, what should it be like for us? When we're not taking his name in vain, what do? Malachi chapter 2, go to verse 6. It says what? The law of truth was in his mouth. So this is what we should be speaking. Speaking his law. That is just letting our light shine, and letting our light shine before men, so that they can see the Most High God, so they can see the grace of his grace, right? How? By having the law of truth in our mouth. Reading on in Malachi 2 verse 6, and iniquity was not found in his lips. Iniquity is wickedness. He walked with me in peace and equity, and did turn many away from iniquity. This is what we're supposed to do as those ambassadors, as his kings and priests. We're supposed to be turning many away from their iniquity. We're supposed to have the law of truth in our mouth. Why should we be like that? Verse 7. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge. The scripture tell you that knowledge is the beginning of what is when we keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. I'm roughly paraphrasing. I'm butchering it horribly. I don't want to hold this too long. We're almost an hour and a half in. He's for the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should what? Seek the law at his mouth. Others should seek the law at our mouth, Israel. When we're not speaking that law, when we just being some niggas, when we being nigga women, when we being nigga men, when we're not being what? Righteous examples, his ambassadors. When we're not being the righteous spouse or the righteous children, when we're not being his righteous family, we're taking his name in vain. When we go after these other gods, when we go after these other nations and their politics and their capitalistic ways, when we're exploiting our people, when we're defrauding our people, when we chase after their religions, we're taking the Most High's name in vain. But when we have, go back to verse 6, Malachi 2:6, when we have the law of truth in our mouth, when we walk in his peace and equity, we do what? We turn many from iniquity. Because the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law. They're going to be coming to us to seek his law. They should seek the law at his mouth. For why? Because as his ambassador, what are we? For he is the messenger of Yahweh. We're supposed to be his messenger. This is how we're not supposed to take his name in vain. We're his messenger. We're his spouse. We're his children. We're his sheep. We're his representatives. We're his ambassadors. And they should seek his word at our mouth. We should let our light shine so that they can see the glory of the Most High God. Let's get this last one, you guys. Let's go to Titus chapter 2. Titus chapter 2. I'm starting at verse 7. The book of Titus, chapter 2, starting at verse 7. In all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works, in doctrine, showing uncorruptness, gravity, and sincerity. See, we need to have these good works, because the good works is us letting our light shine, and that's when we are what? Ambassadors. But when we don't have these good works, what are we doing? We're taking the Most High's name in vain. When we're not being good representatives, when we're not being a nation of kings and priests, when we're not being the ambassadors, what did Malachi just tell us? When we're not being his messenger, we're taking his name in vain, right? So again, in all things, Titus 2 verse 7, in all things showing thyself a pattern of good works. In doctrine, what's his doctrine? His doctrine is law, statutes, and commandments. You see that in Deuteronomy chapter 32, where he says, my doctrine is law, statutes, and commandments. Showing uncorruptness, gravity, that's mean being down to earth. And what else? Sincerity. And what else? Sound speech. See how we even, not just doing things, we got to talk right too. I'm not saying you can't talk about sports, fashion, music, or entertainment. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that when it gets down to it, that we need to have righteous words. We need to be steering people in the good directions, right? We need to be having good advice, right? Sound speech that cannot. But this is the thing: our sound speech, what? That cannot be condemned. That that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil to say about you. Because when they have evil to say about us, that's an opportunity for them to say something bad about the Most High, because we are supposed to be those ambassadors, those representatives, kings and priests, his messenger, his children, his spouse, his sheep that hear his voice. These are the things that we're supposed to be. But when we are stubborn, hard-headed, stiff-necked people, when we are, as we read, when we spreading our ways to the strangers under every green tree, when we're being disobedient, we're taking his name in vain. I pray to just till the ground, plant the seed, or water to plant, but of course the Most High gives and gets the increase. I give all honor and praise and glory to the Most High God, and I take none for myself. It's your brother Gabar, this intelligent Hebrew. With that, I'm going to say shalom. Peace, y'all.